Welcome to the always magic, never boring SDF2 and Union Berlin highlights show, brought to you live from the Stadion an der Alten Försterei. Almost. Happy New Year, and what a start it's been. January 26 will forever be remembered as the month in which, Ronnie Nicole, Zoran Brandy and Chrissy Quiring all scored for the oldies against Heissfeld. Yes, we're back. And it started off with the men straight into action at the Erzgebirge Stadion. Robert Naumann wrote in this book that in 1987 the Auer fans thought themselves as ziemlich harte Hunde. Well, frankly, they had to be on the night of the 5th in temperatures that made Siberia feel like a day out at the tropical islands. And Jon and Auer played each other in a friendly over 4 30-minute quarters, and it all went rather well as Aljoscha Kemlein opened the scoring in the 9th minute after Oliver Burke's clever little layoff.
Aljoscha Kemlein in der 6. Minute dieses Spiels, der gute Auftakt in diese Begegnung.
Yes, despite the cold, yes, even the boss had a coat on. The revolving carousel of players and the state of the pitch, they were excellent in places, and Burke doubled his scoreline with this fine finish.
Diogo Leitz kommt nicht ran, kämpft sich aber den Ball nochmal zurück und dann Burke durchgetüngelt durch zum 2:0.
Yes, though the hosts grabbed one back before full time, it all went rather well. A nice gift for the boss's birthday, though maybe he'd still rather have been a few hundred miles further south. Music maestro. Yes, while the women's team were away in Spain's Campo Nova under blue skies with palm trees waving in the background like ageing hippies at a yoga retreat, they trained and worked out and even took to the racetrack where Anna Ayling delivered the city's finest non-footballing sporting performance since Kai Wegner showed off his background to, universal delight. And the whole thing was rounded off with a game against Spanish 4th Division side club Deportivo Castellón. It may have only been a friendly, but Lisa Heisler was taking this one seriously, bagging a hat-trick within 20 minutes. A proper German hat-trick, that is, not one of your bog-standard English ones.
Und gleich mal die Eisernen mit einer Möglichkeit. Ja, und dann auch gleich der erste Treffer. 2. Spielminute. Lisa Heiseler. Ecke kurz ausgeführt. Halver Kamps auf Lisa Heiseler. Und die macht's direkt. Das in 2:0. Die hatte sich jetzt so richtig warm gespielt. Gehen in die 18. Minute. Kempe zieht 2 Gegenspielerinnen auf sich auf der rechten Seite. Ja, und Lisa Heiseler braucht dann nur noch den Fuß hinhalten, der Hattrick perfekt.
She was then joined on the score sheet by Eileen Campbell, who got a deserved brace, and Dina Orschmann, who joined in the fun straight after half-time.
24. Minute. Antonia Halverkamps erwischt den Ball. Nicht so ganz richtig, aber die Chance noch nicht vorbei. Nochmal der Nachschuss. Eileen Campbell. Es ging nochmal weiter. Wir sind immer noch in der ersten Halbzeit und da gab es noch ein weiteres Tor. Auch hier die Torschützin, die gleiche. Eileen Campbell nach Ecke Lisa Heiseler, die ja ihrerseits eben schon 3 Tore beigesteuert hatte. Hier die Vorbereiterin. Und jetzt Apanasia Moreito. Es wurde auch fleißig durchgetauscht mit der Reingabe. Und in der Mitte dann Dina Orschmann.
Then Hannah Eurlings, making her debut on the pitch, made it 6 and then 7-0 before time was up.
Die Hannah Eurlings, die Belgierin in ihrem ersten Einsatz. Die Nationalspielerin netzt hier zum insgesamt 7. Mal ein für ihre Mannschaft. Also 7:0 für den 1. FC Union Berlin. Und hier nochmal kurz vor dem Ende völlig frei vorne Hannah Eurlings.
What she has against our Iberian cousins is anyone's guess, of course. It was her first goal since she scored against Spain in the Euros. But her return bodes well for the second half of the season, especially as she was joined on the pitch by fellow debutantes Julia Kassan, Celia Helgeson and Leah Camber, not to mention the long-awaited returns of Leonie Kirster, Fatma Zakar and Tanya Pavelek. Back in Berlin, however, all the talk was of cancellations, but those who predicted the cataclysm of Storm Ellie with her 20 centimetres of snow were all, to quote the great James Brown, talking loud and saying nothing. So with the help of the club's staff and the fan clubs, and huge thanks go out to all of them, the stadium and her surrounding areas were cleared in plenty of time of the snow And maybe there's a lesson here for the organiser of the forthcoming World Cup: ice. Yes, the arrival of Mainz 05 at the Outer Försterei meant the long-awaited return of the beloved Urs Fischer and Marcus Hoffmann. 790 days since they led out Union against Leverkusen. They didn't get the full bells and whistles. They didn't wanting to focus on their new task at hand. But it's always nice to see old friends. And on the swampy pitch after Nadim Amiri had opened the scoring, it was with a certain sense of crashing inevitability that Benedikt Hollerbach scored to make it 2-0 for the guests. But just when it looked like we would finally get to understand how everybody else felt playing against an Urs Fischer team, Stefan's side roared back. First, as Wu Yongjiong flew in to head home Derek Kern's fantastic cross. And then the equaliser came, who else but from Danilo Durkee, though Marin Ljubicic was also there, just in case. What a day it was, wild, very cold, and an emotional roller coaster, especially when half-time was taken to remember the great André Roller, former stadium announcer, the man behind the call and response in the stadium of Eisern Union. He'll be sadly missed. But that's that. We warm up and dry off and kick the mud from our boots for another Englischer Woche with ludicrous away trips to Augsburg and Stuttgart on the cards for the men before the excitement of our 60th birthday comes around, capped by the women hosting Leverkusen and the men playing Dortmund on consecutive days. We'll be here, of course, to tell you all about it. See you in a fortnight.